Have you ever noticed how one small worry in your mind can snowball into a full-blown disaster scenario that hasn't even happened yet? You send a text and the person doesn't reply right away, and suddenly your brain whispers, "They must be upset, maybe they don't like me anymore, maybe I'll end up all alone." Or you make one small mistake at work and instantly think, "I'm going to get fired, lose my income, and my life will fall apart." This mental habit has a name: catastrophizing. It's one of the most common cognitive distortions, and it can silently drain your peace of mind, making you feel anxious, hopeless, and even depressed about situations that aren't as bad as they seem. What's fascinating is that catastrophizing tricks your brain into believing the worst-case scenario is not only possible but inevitable, which keeps your nervous system in a constant state of stress. The good news? Catastrophizing is a mental habit, not a permanent flaw, and habits can be changed. When you catastrophize, your brain is essentially running a what-if machine on overdrive. It takes a single challenge, like running late for an appointment, and spins out an endless chain of terrifying outcomes. What if I miss the meeting? What if they think I'm irresponsible? What if I lose the opportunity? What if my future is ruined? Notice how each thought fuels the next, and before long your body reacts as if the disaster is already happening. Your heart races, your chest tightens, your mood sinks. This is how catastrophizing steals energy. It convinces you to live inside a nightmare of your own imagination. But here's the curious part: our brains do this because they are wired for survival. Thousands of years ago, assuming the worst might have helped our ancestors avoid danger. But in today's world, this survival mechanism often backfires, trapping us in unnecessary stress about problems that may never occur. So how do we break free from this destructive pattern? The first step is awareness. Begin to notice when your thoughts start jumping into worst-case territory. Ask yourself, am I predicting a disaster, or am I looking at the facts? Often just naming the distortion, "This is catastrophizing," creates enough space to step back from it. Another powerful shift comes from challenging your thoughts with evidence. If you think, "I made a mistake, I'll definitely lose my job," pause and ask, is there proof that one mistake always leads to being fired? Chances are the answer is no. Remind yourself of past times when you recovered from setbacks and things turned out better than your mind predicted. A simple but effective practice is called realistic rebalancing. Instead of asking, "What's the worst that could happen?" flip the question to, "What's the best that could happen?" and then, "What's most likely to happen?" This exercise helps train your brain to see a fuller picture instead of being trapped in doom-focused thinking. Another helpful micro-skill is grounding yourself in the present. Catastrophizing lives in the future. It's always about what might happen. Bringing your focus back to what is happening right now calms the nervous system and stops the spiral before it grows. You can do this with a few slow breaths, noticing the sensations in your body, or simply observing your surroundings with curiosity. What makes catastrophizing so tricky is how convincing it feels. Your mind presents these worst-case scenarios with such intensity that they feel like reality. But remember, feelings are not facts. Just because you feel like something terrible will happen does not mean it will. Learning to separate your emotions from reality is a skill that takes practice. But with each attempt, you weaken the grip of this distortion. Imagine how freeing it would feel to live with more balance, where challenges are seen as challenges, not disasters. By gently retraining your mind, you can transform catastrophizing from a prison into a signal. Each time you catch yourself spiraling into the worst case, use it as a reminder to slow down, breathe, and question the story your brain is telling. Over time, this new response becomes automatic and catastrophizing loses its power. The truth is, life will always have uncertainties and challenges, but you don't have to live inside imagined disasters. You can choose to see setbacks as temporary, problems as solvable, and the future as open to possibility instead of doom. And that choice can mean the difference between living weighed down by fear or walking forward with resilience and hope.